Hello and welcome to the Delphian Podcast.
Delphian is an artist-led nomadic gallery focusing on emerging and early career artists.
Each episode will feature a different art world practitioner, from artists and gallerists to collectors and curators.
If you like today's episode, please like, share and subscribe.
Hello and welcome to the Delphian Podcast. My name is Nick J.S. Thompson and I'm joined as always by Benjamin Murphy.
Hello. Our guest this week is Kristin Hjellegjerde, who is the director and founder of Kristin Hjellegjerde Gallery, who is dedicated to exhibiting a roster of innovative international artists, both emerging and established, with a strong theoretical and aesthetic base.
That's
Hello.
correct.
How are you?
Hi, nice to be here.
Thank you for coming all the way to South London on such a hot day.
In the heat, yes.
So why did you decide to start the gallery? Have you always had an interest in curation? What's your background?
My background is actually literature. That's what I studied at university, and I grew up in the countryside, so there wasn't much access to art. So the escape was books, really. Yeah. Contemporary art was very minimal in Norway then. It was Astrid Fearnley had started this collection that was very interesting to see when I was like about 19. After that, I started looking for art everywhere when I traveled, because I'm quite a nomad. If I didn't have a family with 2 children, I would not be sitting still for a week. So I moved around Italy, Bangkok and Singapore, and then I studied acting in New York and lived in LA. And then moved back to New York and did real estate on the Upper West Side.
Wow. So quite varied background.
I've done a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I think it's good to know how it is on the other side of things, how it is to be the one who's seeking out as well, how it is to be the artist in a way, when you, it's really tough to present yourself, and that's why I think it's really good to have a dealer, because you shouldn't have to present you and your work. Well, you guys are doing it really well, but I think it can be really hard over a long time.
Yeah.
I love that there is artist initiatives because we need it so much, and I always say to younger artists as well that if you can find an exhibition, you bring together your favorite artist and show with them that you go out for and go out to school with and so on, because it's important to exhibit all the time. Well, I got sidetracked, but I was worried I was going to say something wrong there. I did when I was in New York and I had my kids. I did art business in New York at New York University, and I was just finding out where in the field I could be and what I should work with. I was writing a blog about art because then you learn much quicker. And then, like you guys are doing by doing this podcast, you learn so much more when you write things down or listen to it and so on. So, my husband is an architect, and Norman Foster wanted us to move to London, and we said yes to that because we kind of wanted our kids to grow up in Europe. And when I arrived here, I didn't know what to do, and I didn't really know anyone. So I did the crazy thing about opening a gallery without knowing anybody. Wow. Just totally naive, and I was mostly under the table the first 1.5 years. But
when was this? When did you start?
In 2012.
Okay, right.
So 7 years ago now.
So how did you make the transition from, or at least make the decision to go from real estate to art business?
Well, since I was young and I studied at university, I didn't take up a student loan because I worked 2 days a week selling furniture and so on. And I know I'm a really good salesperson and I love selling, but I don't want to sell anything that I don't care 100% about. And I want to do something that I'm super passionate about and be there to help others and develop career and so on. I was thinking if I would start working for somebody else, I was then 39 years old. It's a bit late. You kind of have to do it on your own.
Right.
Yeah.
So in terms of curation, how do you approach the curation of a show? Do you think of a theme and then find artists who fit within that theme, or do you collect artists together who you really want to show and then try and identify some common similarities or contradictions between the artists?
Yeah, it can come from different points of view. Sometimes it's just because I really want to show one artist, and the artist might not have time to make a full show, or it could be because I am wanting to try out 3 or 4 artists to see how it works out. It's always good to do a group show first, so you learn how they are mentally as well as their artwork, and how committed they are to creating new work. Because you know easily, like suddenly they send you 3 pieces that they've shown in another exhibition, and then you know they're not committed. That you know that you're not gonna be putting your love behind them for the future, because you don't know if they're gonna work hard enough. So from that, I try to put together artists that would curatorially fit together, and sometimes some magic happens, and they just know about each other's work, and they somehow met, like making work that totally completely fit. I think like you put things out there, they're not even in touch, but they know who the other artist is, and some magic happens. I feel like it's very exciting to create group shows sometimes, but I think it's harder to sell, because as we were talking about earlier, was that when you have a focus on one artist, everyone can really take in that work. Well, a group show becomes not you don't know who's going to get the attention, really. So, and then a lot of times when I do a group show, I contact all the artists, and I want them to give me ideas and give me their stories about how they work and so on, and everyone is allowed to give me a suggestion for a title. Great. Then I go through, because then everyone is part, even though I never met, they are like kind of part of building the story together. Then everyone, in the end, you come up with something that links them and with the subject, and then it's easier for them to also work towards that subject. I think I love titles, so I think
they can be a nightmare though sometimes.
Yeah, it can be hard to come up with that. But since I come from literature, it's But when I most of my program is very planned, a year or a year and a half, maybe 2 years in advance. And then if the artist 6 months before knows the title, you know that they're going to make really good work, because they narrowed it down, and they are centered on the direction of the show.
So how much do you think, how much of a curatorial signature style do you think a curator should put into individual shows?
I think I try to make it into something that I'm doing with the artist. I try not to enforce anything whatsoever. Actually, like I ask, is there something special you want? Is this a certain way you want to hang it, or color of the wall, or I'm trying to be as open-minded as possible, even if I have my floor ruined by carpet, or I have done a lot of different things glued, so I have to cost me a lot of money to fix after, which so I can be maybe too flexible sometimes.
That's interesting that you bring that up, though, because that's also kind of goes along with one of the questions we've also written for this, and it also is the topic of one of the essays in our upcoming book. Do you think more artists should take more control over how their work is seen? So not every painting will work best on a white wall under gallery style lighting, for example. Do you think more artists should almost become curators of their own work?
That can be very dangerous too. Because a lot of times I think it needs to be a dialogue. An open-minded dialogue. So it's not like I need to have my work presented this and this way, because I kind of know very well what the other side is going to see. Yeah. So if they have a very specific way of wanting to, then I'm like, okay, let's discuss it and find out how you're going to be happy.
And how you're going to be happy too.
Yeah, right? Exactly. That we both are going to be fine. But I think that the artists that are most adamant about how they want things to be are usually the ones that are starting out.
All right.
So I find sometimes the younger, more emerging are often harder to work with than the established ones.
Well, they don't have that experience.
Exactly, and they don't know how it is to work with other galleries, and they so I always also think, like my artists, I always want them to work with lots of different galleries, like have had experience, because then they can see what kind of love we are giving and what kind of support we are giving, and sort of, which is kind of like not like David Swerner was just saying in his podcast, in other words, it was about how few galleries right now is taking an artist and bringing them all the way. And I'm planning to do that. And there's nearly no galleries who are managing to do that right now, because
they're just poaching successful ones from other galleries, right?
So by being able to keep your artist, you're going to have to develop and move and grow all the time.
Yeah. So how do you go about finding and selecting your artists? Do you go to graduate shows? Do you find them online? What's your sources?
I've found them at graduate shows. Like Lydia Blakely is the last one that I took right out of Goldsmith now and started representing and showing her at Enter. I try not to do it. I get a little nervous about it. I've said, it's not often I do this anymore. I want them to.
Do you mean taking on such an early career?
Yes, but I keep doing it all the time.
It's probably hard not to get excited by something so fresh.
I follow my heart with every, when I feel things before you open the door, like if an artwork is going to be good, or if the person is good, it's all about instincts.
It, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
So,
So, probably what a lot of artists want to hear from curators and gallerists, which probably isn't said enough, is how, from your opinion as a curator, can artists get themselves visible and get themselves discoverable by galleries? Because do you accept unsolicited email submissions?
I look at everything, actually. Like I said, since I'm coming from wanting to be a writer and this and that, I know how it is to be on the other side. And you never know. It rarely happens, though, that I take in anyone or unsolicited. But I look. I think I always give it a chance. It takes 1 second.
Are there any examples of interesting or innovative ways you can think of that an artist has made themselves visible and you've seen it?
Come and visit the galleries. Come and say hi. Show that you know the program. I think it's funny how a lot of people just send things out, but not engaged. Not engaged at all. Yeah. I've taken in a lot of artists that become my friends and given them a chance because they keep coming and show interest.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem is artists are very eager to just send out thousands of emails. They don't know whether or not they would even necessarily fit in your gallery.
No.
And those just are a waste of everyone's time.
And go to openings, because you also meet other artists. You also meet, some of the collectors that are coming. I think it's very important to go and be part of the scene. 1 evening, a week or so, you make a program for yourself to go and check out and do all the galleries that are kind of like for you in your level. Yeah. Because you can go to all the David Swerners and everybody goes to that, but it's going to take you 10 years or never to get in there. But you can start you should go to the galleries that can actually give you space and follow their program.
So potentially another question that is often not really asked or spoken about enough: how much of an artist's success is about networking?
Yeah, I think a lot of times artists creates their work and hands it over, and then they're finished with their job. I think some of the most successful artists, though, are involved in the business part as well. And, try to get people to come to your show, because that also shows to me that you're really involved, like sending people so there's continuous traffic to your show, because you never know if you manage to get one person to come, they can tell somebody else to come, and so on, and it goes on. So I think you need to have some sort of business sense. as well as your creativity. But otherwise, we take care of everything, like whatever comes to the show and so on. But I just think some sort of personal enthusiasm while your show is on as well is great.
Yeah, I suppose, in terms of kind of getting shows and
getting shows, I think social media is really good, and you get a lot of hits and so on, but it doesn't mean that the person that gets the most hits are the ones that are successfully selling. Because really selling comes from very individual contact, like it's very personal, right? But I think it can help you get a name and so on to be good on social media. Like I wouldn't maybe have known about Lydia Blakely if it wasn't because she's pretty good at presenting herself. So I've been following her for a whole year before we said, let's do this.
Right. So I think people and artists probably especially have this romantic notion of an artist working away in their studio and they get discovered somehow and then they're a superstar. I think we find that it's the artists who are great at marketing and sales and social media and business that actually do really well. Because
absolutely, I agree. You need to be. It's all in the end a very personal thing. You're not gonna have the sort of Castelli thing where you go in and it's a smaller scene, so get to hear about everybody. Now the scene is so huge that it takes a lot to be the one that is gonna stand out. And you have to stand out by also working on bringing people in to see your work or to view your work in some way. So I appreciate it very much when an artist is engaging in the more business part as well.
Because it also probably shows they'll be easier to work with.
I'm just sort of switched on generally.
Yeah. It's you have to look at how people are presenting themselves, and it tells you a lot about the person. It's like anyone in any jobs right now, they would look up your Facebook account and see how you behave.
Yeah, it's a worrying thought, isn't it? It's a worrying thought.
Yes, it is.
This is a sort of question we asked quite a few times. It's quite a general question. It's quite nice. If you had unlimited time, space, and money, what's the one project you would love to do?
Oh, I know that. My dream, like now I have, last year I opened Berlin and now I'm working hard on getting Million Place, the one in London Bridge, up and running. First we will use it as a main space and then move back to the old space and then go back again when we have rebuilt the building. I'll just dealing with the Brexit time first. And then what I want most is to open a hotel / residency and gallery space.
Oh, wow.
So somewhere warm. I need nature. So I want to, and I love working 24 hours. So I want to have a view. I want to sit and have communal tables. So friends and collectors and artists and whatever can be they all together and get to know each other. So the residency program will be one artist per month coming in. So it's 3 artists and not too much drama, always a bit changing. And then they work towards the solo show.
Okay.
And then I would like to have a residency chef. And so I'm having that in my plan because now I had with my museum show in Norway, Kubatana, about African art. I had that in my business plan for 2 years before I found the right outlet and it happened. So I think that by writing it down over and over again, something's going to happen. Somebody's going to want to invest in this.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
What's interesting about this question is, because we do ask it quite a bit, is that the majority of the answers are very achievable.
Yeah.
And they're nothing to do with sales or with prestige. They're all to do with, I want to do something that kind of supports artists.
Yeah. Isn't that nice?
It's great.
Deep down, we're all good.
So, a little bit off piece now, but so there was an interesting article. There was an interesting post by the arts editor of The Guardian recently. Did you see it? Where he basically said that if you are a curator of a show and we cover the show, don't expect us to credit you. You're like the director of photography and you don't deserve a mention.
Oh.
How do you feel about that?
I didn't read that article. Must have been a holiday. No, but that sounds. I think everyone needs to get the credit. Everyone who's involved. It's not only me. I'm trying, like, for example, now with the Enter Art Fair, I'm sending my girls because I want them to be seen in the limelight as well and get credit and people getting to know them. And I'm starting to get them to answer questions for journalists and so on. I think that to develop, you need to give everybody credit. And I think journalists need to, for sure, give credit to everyone involved. I believe, like, you don't do it alone, you know. You're doing it with the artists, you're doing it with the creators, I curate all my shows myself and done all hundreds of what I've done now because I enjoy it so much and because I'm not really seeing myself so much as a curator. I'm seeing myself more as someone who's helping the artists put out their message the way they want to do. So why should I have somebody else come in and want that to be changed?
You have worked with other curators, though, right?
One curator.
Oh, right, and that was recently.
Yeah.
How did you find that?
And so my spaces I've never done, but the project space with Robert. Oh, it was wonderful. Yeah, he really put in so much love and effort. I'm very pleased by working with him, actually. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, do you think you'd do it again?
Yeah, I think I actually think I would. Because if I do, you know, the hotel and other space as well, it's just so much that I can do alone.
Yeah.
And to be there all the time. I might not be able to be at every opening and so on. And I always travel to Berlin 2 days before to hang the exhibition. I might not be able to do that with everything. So you have to release responsibilities and credits to other people as well. And also I think that having an outside curator brings in new artists to the program that you wouldn't have necessarily thought of. And I think that's a lot of fun as well.
Is it uncomfortable giving away some of your power, though?
No, I actually don't think so. But I mean, it would depending on what kind of persons that you give away power to.
Yeah.
Do you know? If I think that the ones around me are very grateful and think it's fun and give me cred back, you know what I mean? Like are respectful and so on. If somebody just are going to bulldoze through and not say, Kristin, what do you think about this or whatever, then we're not working together. Then it's not so fun. Then. No, exactly. So I think it feels like you want to grow, you have to give. You have to delegate and you have to be able to give other people credit.
You've got a really strong team that works with you. At the gallery,
I
right?
love my team. Yeah. They're just so good-hearted and kind and would do... Actually, every day they make me feel like I'm doing the good thing. You know, like when we have hard times and people not paying and this and that. And they sit there and they just like 100% behind me. And if you had then other people sitting there like, you know, mischievous and in trying to put you down or whatever, which I've had, then it's going to destroy your motivation so much. But to have people around you that are always there and like think that you're going to go to the top and I want to be part of this team that's going to go to the top, then you go in and like, okay, I'm not going to disappoint them, right?
Why don't you give them a quick shout out now? What are their names?
Briefly. Hedvig Liestøl, she's been director of the London Gallery for 5 years. And Eva Ostendorf, which is actually my sister. She's German. And she's taking care of Berlin Gallery. She's a director there. And Elena Garcia, who's Spanish living in London, who's sitting at the office right now, at the gallery now.
Thank you to those guys.
Yes. So we have a very little team. And when people come in and say, like, you know, museum show and all this art fair, like I'm curating 17 shows a year for the 2 galleries, plus 5 art fairs. And plus that this year we did the museum show.
That's 23 shows a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we have 3 people. We are 3 people plus me. So you know they're extremely efficient. We are really good. And they always go home at 6, unless they really want to stay. Which also Hedvig is like, oh no, I'm sitting at the gallery at 8 o'clock on Saturday night. I'm working on sales. I'm like, okay. It's not because I've asked to. It's because they really want to do whatever it takes. So, but I can hear a lot of other galleries, people working to 1 a.m. and so on.
Because they have to.
Because they have to. But also I'm not like, I feel like we deal with a lot of import and export, and we do deal with all that ourselves because we have to save money. We have to, find out shipping opportunities and do all that. And so I think like we're managing to have the whole program ready for a year in advance, and we're like just this little team.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a small team too.
Yeah.
Obviously, so it's nice to know that
it works.
Can scale up and it's still working.
Yeah.
So talking about collaboration, because this is something we talk about a lot. Do you think there's enough collaboration between galleries that would maybe be thought of as being competitors? Do you think the art world is competitive?
I think the art world is absolutely very competitive, but I feel like in London, I feel we are a little bit behind each other. I do feel like we want each other good. It's a hard market, and I never felt like anyone, I wouldn't take an artist from another gallery, my level. Like, I think unless the artist, we've been working on a lot of projects or something, I think you have quite strong ethics here. So far as I can see.
Nice,
but maybe people haven't seen me as a competitor in one certain town, so I just can operate on my own little platform there, sort of secretly growing in a way. So, but I feel like I've gotten a lot of like friendships. Like for example, Viggo Gallery with Toby, we are like having dinners together when we travel, and talk to each other about hints and hits and misses and what we should do. And so I think I find that London really want each other well.
That's nice.
Yeah, I'd be really sad when somebody else has to close down because we don't know the pain that comes in. Because most of the galleries, if you don't have a huge funding, you go down with it. So. But what I realize is a lot of the galleries do have a lot of personal money, which I don't have.
Yeah, we don't either.
No. So then you just have to give all you got to make it happen.
So what is the one piece of advice that you would give a curator who's just starting out today?
Work with people like you.
You don't know us that well yet.
No, but start up with a pop-up kind of spaces and so on, to show that and grow a huge friendship with artists that you believe in. Like go out and meet and go to the studios and grow like a group of like 12, 15 artists that you really believe in, and then if you manage to build these artists up, you're going to be visible as well as being part of that new scene.
If you could change one thing about the art world, what would that be?
Let's see. I think the cost of art fairs and the risk is really high for us galleries. I think we have to do it. And I think that maybe... I mean, this is a bit tricky, but maybe the galleries are taking too little fee from the artist right now compared to all the cost that we have.
So you'd see like maybe 60% or
yeah, because 50-50, when we take care of all these extreme high bills, it's like if I'm doing 154 now, right? So the cost is 19,000 plus the shipping, plus this not bringing everything African art in, stretching. And the shipping company charges 1,500 just inside London because it's specific with Somerset. So then you have to think that at least it's going to cost me 26,000. That means I will have to sell for 52,000.
Yeah, to break even.
To even pay for my cost.
Yeah.
And that means none of the people who work for me or, any other costs are covered. Yeah. Right? Only the physical. So... if you then have an art fair that is not going well, you're 52,000 down. You know what I mean? Because you still have to pay the artist. So I think that sometimes the money part doesn't work when you're not selling things that are 40 to 100,000 and you're still growing careers.
Well, do you think this might kind of be a reason why, like we were talking about earlier, that a lot of galleries don't discover exciting artists and then nurture their career.
Yeah.
Rather, they essentially poach them from other galleries when they know they have a proven sales track record and they can command higher prices.
Absolutely, because really it's not affordable to bring up careers. And I don't know how to stop doing it.
Yeah.
Because, you see great talents, and I know they can have a great future, so I have to do it. But it's affordable. It's not. No, it's. But hopefully, most of my artists stay with me the whole time. So, and we have a really good relationship. My gallery is like a family. My artists become friends with each other and are there for each other. And by creating this tight place where people feel really comfortable and can dare to go to those secret spots where you are really true to yourself in your art, I think, and by growing and building and having new space and being more central, and you do things step by step that is going to make people stay with you when they are growing too, and they are actually getting the prices that can cover our costs. Yeah. So hopefully that's what's going to happen. Great. We will get back. Some of the younger galleries will get back.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Yeah.